Was you ever married?
No, I lived like I was, but...
How come you never got married?
Because when I was younger, I realise now that was my mum and dad were married. When they divorced, it was traumatic.
Okay.
So when I thought of marriage, I just thought, well, because for me, if I got married, it'd be forever. I wouldn't want to change that, no matter what, for ups and downs. And seeing my mum and dad obviously go through a divorce made me think, okay, that's where marriages go. So although I am only usually with people long term, I didn't put much weight on the paper.
Yeah.
You know, to me it was like, it's just a bit of paper.
Yeah.
And plus...
But now you don't feel that way?
It's not like I think, right, I really want to get married.
When people say it's just a bit of paper, you have kids? They have birth certificate? Is that just a piece of paper?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I know it's just a piece of paper, but they present it.
There's a lot more to it, going in depth with that.
So when you study a degree, when you go to university, you study a degree for 4 years and they give you a diploma. Is that just a piece of paper?
Well, you've got that whole experience, haven't you? So I suppose you're going to say that, yeah. But what I'm saying is, if you're with someone...
The piece of paper represents the work it did to get to that point. So the piece, yes, it's just a piece of paper, of course it is, but the piece of paper represents something. It represents...
So that was my thought back then.
Yeah.
With the first person I was with.
I didn't even know that you signed a piece of paper, to be honest with you, until I went to like Western marriage. I always looked at it in like traditional sort of sense. I didn't know you signed a piece of paper. So whenever it was like, it's just a paper, I was like, well, what is that? I think people tend to think that marriage is just a piece of paper. Well, okay, if you've been having premarital sex, if you've been living together, if you've been going on holidays, if you've got children together. Yes, if you got married, then nothing will change. You're probably going to be a piece of paper because you've been living a married life effectively. So why would you all of a sudden want to get married if you've been doing it's just kind of along, right? But you weren't supposed to do that. You were supposed to be at home or whatever, then meet your partner, get married, move in together, get a house together, then have kids. And then that's why, and then marriage doesn't become a paper. Marriage is a covenant between you and a union between you, your partner, and God. It tends to be that. That's why people get married. It's not really about the paper. It's more like a union. And I think women should be asking for that. And if a man doesn't want to marry you, chances are he hasn't got good intentions for you long term. Just like I'll say to a man, if a woman doesn't want to marry you, chances are she's gonna leave you, because why would she not if she wanted to be around for a long time? What do you think?
I agree.
Why didn't you get married?
I would have. If things stayed, hopefully, when it was good, then eventually I would have. I would have liked to have thought I would have.
You don't think you should have got engaged before you had a child?
I'm right now in the situation, I'm glad that I didn't.
Because, yeah.
I'm glad that I didn't.
But at the time...
But yeah, usually, don't get me wrong, when my dad found out that I was having a little one without like being married, he was fuming. You're fuming? Fuming.
How did you handle that?
Oh, I hated it. I hated having that feeling of someone not being happy. I was still a bit like, do you know what I mean, just on edge with the situation. But knowing that my dad, someone who was so strict on certain rules, was upset with something that's happened, that wasn't how he planned it. Yeah. It then kind of, not ruined how I felt, but it kind of put me down a bit like, oh... Like, I kind of wish I kind of followed through with how he wanted it.
Your parents married?
No.
Okay. But, it's like, you're his daughter, right? He's going to be like, you know what I mean? Daddy's girl.
Of course. Like, a proper, like... Yeah.
How is he now?
Screams it. My dad's passed now.
Oh, sorry to hear.
But he's very, like... I think that's what's now in the back of my mind. Like, whatever I do now, I need to do enough to make sure that he's happy with. Yeah. So if he was here today, you'd been like, do you know what, Chell, I'm proud of that. Yeah. Rather than just calling me and just effing and blinding down the phone.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah, I get that. Like, it's men's